Apparo tutorials. What is Apparo Fast Edit? This video will clarify what Apparo Fast Edit is, and what possibilities it offers. Apparo Fast Edit is a tool for creating data entry applications, so-called business cases. These run in the web browser and do not require installation on the user's computer. One of the priorities is the complete integration of Excel. With business cases you can create small applications, such as data entry forms, build complex workflows, or simply fill the gaps left open by the standard software used in your company. A cornerstone here is the integration with existing BI systems, such as IBM Cognos Analytics and ClickSense. Of course, Fast Edit can also be used without an existing BI system. Security is of great importance. You always have full control over who can see, enter, change or delete data. The various data validation possibilities ensure that only valid data can be entered. Data history and auditing gives you the tools to know at any time who changed what data, when, and how, and to make sure that erroneous changes can be reversed at any time. The entered data can be processed platform independently, and is available for any other system. Creating business cases with Fast Edit is very easy. The Apparo Designer includes a switchable online help, with explanations of all features and settings. All business cases can be created to be self-explanatory, eliminating the need for extensive training. Business cases can be created in almost no time, and easily adapted at any time. With Apparo Fast Edit you do not need costly in-house developments anymore. The Apparo Designer. On the left side, you will find all menu items. And at the very top, is the application header, with the application name, the name of the current menu item, the name of the current user, the name of the selected client, and the backlink to the portal or BI system. In the middle is the editing area. At the moment you look at the business case list. On the right side, you'll find the button that activates the description mode. The description mode shows explanatory help texts for all features and settings. This makes it easier to get started with Fast Edit, without having to consult the manual constantly. Also helpful for getting started with Fast Edit is the training menu. This video only gives a brief overview of the most important features, but there you will find detailed tutorials, and also the download link for this client with all business cases to practice, and other helpful documents and links. Apparo Fast Edit is client-based. Each client contains its own business cases, connections and settings and can have its own look. You can easily separate different departments or parts of the company. In the first tab you enable, or disable the client, and assign user groups. Under General, you can change the application name, assign the logo, and enable the Excel auto import from the server. Under Languages you can enable the languages you need, and define a fallback language. You can set here different date formats for all used languages. You can assign various access rights, enable automatic table and column creation, set the default Excel export format, enable the business log, enable the portal, if it is the standalone version, set the appearance of the portal, and the designer, and on the last tab, you can set the default colors and fonts, for all newly created business cases. In the menu About Apparo, you will find the version and build number, information about your license, and also helpful links. In Logs and Messages, you can define custom error messages that replace the original database error messages. You can review the system log and increase the log level if you need more details. And you can enable a SQL trace log that logs all database requests. In the menu connections you will find email and database connections. To create business cases, you need at least a valid database connection. In the main tab you will find the general connection settings. These settings are stored encrypted. Under Advanced you will find settings for additional connection parameters, and settings to optimize simultaneous access to data, so users can get an information when another has just changed the data. Under Variables you can define your own variables, with which the connection settings in the tab Main can be generated dynamically. Under Security, the access to the database connection can be restricted to members of the entered security groups. Creating business cases. You create a business case by clicking the New button. There are 6 different types of business cases. Table business cases contain all records of a database table in a list view, while single business cases display only one record, for example in an input mask. Sets allow multiple business cases to be grouped in a tabbed view, and combined into one application using global set filters. Email import business cases contain all settings needed for importing Excel files from email attachments. Email business cases contain texts and other settings of an email, and can be used for example for manual or automated sending of dynamically generated emails as part of a workflow. Action business cases can execute JavaScript or SQL commands and call scripts on the server or database procedures. They can be called manually via a button or link, or triggered automatically by predefined events in business cases or BI reports. For our video we create an example table business case. In the next window we enter the ID and name, select the database connection and the underlying database table and click Next. If a new business case is created, the list with the features opens automatically. The required features can be enabled or disabled here. Enabling features expands the menu in the Edit view. We recommend enabling only the features you need. If the business case is edited again after a long time, you have a much better overview. When a business case is created, Fast Edit automatically creates an input field type widget for each column of the underlying database table. Before we can start the business case, we must first define one or more primary keys. These can differ from the primary key combination of the underlying database table. After we have started the business case, we can theoretically start editing the data. But it could be difficult for the user to imagine something under the status ID 1, or what the product ID 480 is. So we still need to improve the business case a little bit. It still shows weaknesses in design, usability, and data security and validity. It is also not yet available for end users, as it exists only in the designer so far. I made some changes to improve usability and data security, and changed the simple table view to a revision workflow. A header with a description for this business case. Some filters, and a bulk update status widget, to change the status for multiple rows at once. I added lookups. The product lookup here depends on the product line selection. I removed input widgets, where pre-calculated values are added automatically. I added explanatory tooltips for all widgets, and also a file upload widget, so users can attach Excel files or documents. Added, but not visible, auditing and a data change history, as well as an email notification, when the status has been changed to ready for approval. I have now changed the business case to German. This includes tooltips and also the data. The system automatically detects the user's language settings and adapts the interface accordingly. Widgets. Widgets are data input and output elements such as input fields, lookups or spacers. Some are database column-based, others are not. There are several areas where widgets can be placed. The filter area, the edit area, the bulk update area, and the calculation area. To extend the business case and create new widgets, you can either create the column in your database, or if enabled, directly with Fast Edit. Adding new widgets is simple. Select the desired area, and then the column you just created, or if automatic table and column creation is enabled in the client settings, the Create New Column option. Then enter a column name, and select the data type. There are several different widget types. In the editing area there are input field widgets, text areas, checkboxes, simple drop-downs to select existing values from the underlying table, lookup drop-downs to select values from lookup tables, a multi-select lookup to select multiple values at once, label widgets for text output, labels with variables to output HTML, or pre-calculated text or values from variables, a spacer and title widget for creating gaps and column titles, a business case link for connecting business case and pass values, and a file up and download widget for storing files in a database, or in a predefined folder on the server. And in the filter area there is additionally a simple, and a lookup, multi-select. The settings for the widget can be found in the tabs of the widget edit view. You can use read and write expressions, or default or constant values. You can set the widget as hidden or read-only for different cases, and make various other settings depending on the widget type. And set up the visual appearance, or define help texts like hints or descriptions. Single business cases. Single business cases are often used as data entry forms, or to show more details via business case link. They show only one record and the widgets are arranged in columns. A single business case is either in edit mode, in which case you can navigate between the existing records using the optional navigation bar at the bottom, or in insert mode. This can be entered using this button, or with a URL parameter, or the business case can be started directly in insert mode, using the corresponding setting. Business case sets. Business case sets are used to group business cases in a tab view. It is also possible to pair used filters as global set filters to combine them to one application. Those filters are valid for all business cases of the set. Variables. One reason for the great flexibility of Fast Edit is the almost unlimited use of variables. The following types of variables are available. Environment variables. They are defined within the operating system, and can be used in all client settings, in all connection settings and in all business cases. Database connection variables. They can be used in connection settings and in all business cases that use the connection. Business case variables. There are user-defined variables like script variables. They use JavaScript, and are enhanced by Apparo-specific JavaScript functions. These allow you to call your own Java classes, or custom JavaScript functions. They can execute SQL commands, call scripts and process return values, and much more. Report variables transport values from reports and business cases. SQL variables execute SQL commands, and contain the return values. There are two types, SQL variables for all tables, and SQL variables for the target table only, where the latter automatically applies all filters used by the business case. Then there are several predefined internal variables, like username, timestamp and many more. Also widget reference variables that contain the values of the used editing widgets, and variables for the used filter widgets. Variables can be used in other variables, in function calls as parameters, even within emails, in widgets, as default or constant values, or in settings that can be enabled, or disabled based on a calculation, that returns true or false, and many other places. Excel export. Fast Edit provides different Excel interfaces, for exporting and importing data. The export to Excel can be done manually, or automated via script. Excel Export offers some unique features. Individual mapping of columns to Excel sheets. Locking Excel fields, rows or columns, so they are read-only, and cannot be edited by users. Optionally preventing users from creating new rows or columns in the exported Excel sheet. Excel Import. You can restrict business cases to only support Excel Import. You can set Excel Import to bulk import, which does not support historization and auditing, but significantly speeds up the import. You can specify whether inserting or updating data rows is allowed, based on calculations in a variable that returns true. You have several mapping options. You can restrict the allowed file names, and of course, use variables for most settings. The file import supports the import of all Excel file types, CSV, or text files. It is also possible to automatically import Excel files directly from the server. Also supported is the import of copied data rows from Excel into business cases. The manual Excel import by file, or by copy and paste, also shows data errors, and optionally allows correcting the errors directly in the browser. Another option is the import of Excel files from email attachments. The user composes an email to a predefined email address, and attaches the Excel files. After sending the email, the user receives an email receipt message, and after processing the attachment, another email with the message that the file has been imported successfully. In the case of data errors, the user receives an email with the error message, and an Excel file with all the erroneous data rows. These can then be corrected in Excel, and sent again for importing. There are several settings for securing the Excel import. In the email connection you can define a whitelist of trusted email servers. In the email import settings, you will find a whitelist of allowed email senders, a list of security keywords that must be included in the subject or body, optional confirmation emails, and a check of the sender, whether the email address can be mapped to a user registered in the security system, and whether this user is a member of a security group entered here. Calling automated scripts, or database procedures and functions, and browser-side JavaScript. Another way to process data outside of FastEdit is to call external scripts and database procedures or functions via user-defined buttons or links, or automatically when predetermined events occur, such as when the business case is started or closed, when data is inserted, updated, or deleted, when Excel is imported, or simply when users check a box, or select a lookup value. Browser-side JavaScript functions can be used to create highly automated data entry masks, or list views for simple use cases, such as new input fields appearing when certain values are set, all the way up to complex planning applications that can automatically calculate values and populate fields. Portal and BI integration. Apparo Designer and business cases can be integrated into your BI system, and the standalone version, which can be used in parallel with BI versions, but does not require BI user licenses, has its own portal. The portal contains folders and links to business cases, or other external applications. It supports single sign-on, and the look and feel can be easily customized to match your corporate identity. You can assign security groups to the folders and links to restrict access. Besides the standard folder mode, there is also a tile mode. Tiles can have different sizes, and support background images and HTML. Also supported is the use of linked business case variables to display status information or summary numbers, for example. Business cases can be linked in reports or dashboards, as in this simple example for comments in Cognos Analytics. Comments and data are always stored in your own relational databases. Not only can they be accessed in browser windows or tabs, but they can also be embedded directly. As in this ClickSense example, multiple business cases can be linked to one application, using report filters and other BI system parameters. There are countless possibilities. Why just have a simple comment app, when you can extend it to a decision-making workflow app, with comments and email notifications? Data validity. Data validity checks can be performed at different levels. At widget level, you can specify interval limits based on the data types that return error messages, with fixed values or based on calculations in variables, and you can use custom Java classes, for example, to check postal codes or other external calculations. Text widgets also support regular expressions to limit the allowed entered characters. Row validation allows to check widget values based on calculations. You can issue custom warnings or error messages that allow to issue a warning that saves all values to the database anyway, or a custom error message that prevents saving. Security. There are two types of security: back-end and front-end security. The back-end security affects all security settings of the Apparo designer. It allows to restrict the access to the Apparo designer, mainly set in the Apparo configuration manager, and here in the client settings. And also the folder security levels in the designer, like here. Who has the rights to edit or delete this folder? The front-end security contains different tiers. The general mapping to the client, the settings at folder level, and different security settings at business case level, like access rights, or security group depending filters, or settings to access features, like here at widget level, as hiding widget, for selected, or not selected security groups. Those settings are also available for most features like here. Who is allowed to insert new data? Traceability. Traceability means tracking data changes and user activity. Apparo features simple and detailed auditing. Simple auditing stores basic metadata in the target table, such as who inserted or updated data, including timestamps, and allows deletion of data rows by simply marking them as deleted. Detailed auditing stores advanced metadata into an own auditing database table, also custom values, and old and new values of changed data columns. The data history is a flexible tool that comes with many features. Mainly, instead of overwriting or deleting data, it allows you to mark the unchanged data row as historized, and simply create another data row with the changed values. There are several possible uses, for example as a simple price history of a product, or as a general data change history, that can be linked to an extra window. The business log keeps track of all user interactions, for example when the user starts or closes a business case, or accesses the designer, etc. More information, and a free trial on apparo.solutions.